here.
That's the way it is on Bloggers Row, right? I mean, people just show up because you see these rock stars all lined up that you know their names and you read their stuff, and then you actually see them, and it's kind of like meeting Mick Jagger for the first time or something.
Yeah, looking up and saying, oh my gosh, that's Chuck Devore.
There's the blogger formerly known as Prince.
All right, so you are running in the primary against Carly Fiorina.
It took me several months to learn how to say it.
Oh,
That's
my
okay.
goodness. She put out this fabulous Demon Sheep ad.
Demon Sheep, absolutely. It's like 800,000 people have viewed it or something like that.
It's fabulous, but you weren't mentioned in there. Why not?
Well, we actually had a lot of fun with it ourselves, though. We actually created a website called demonsheep.org to kind of mock it, and then used a YouTube video that we had made several months ago mocking some of the over-the-top Hollywood-type slogans that Carly Fiorina was using. And we actually had our reaction out before Tom Campbell did, the target of the Demon Sheep ad. So we enjoyed kind of poking fun at it because I thought that it kind of represented the trivialization of issues in politics. Here you're dealing with this serious issue, Tom Campbell's support of these massive tax increases last year, and you're delivering it in such a psychedelic train wreck that the delivery mechanism almost overwhelmed the message.
It sure did, and I thought it was interesting that Carly basically put that ad out saying that she's going to be a fiscal conservative, but if you look at her record, she hasn't
Well, and see,
really
that's the
been.
other interesting thing, is if you look at the similarities between Carly Fiorina and Tom Campbell and Barbara Boxer, there's actually several. All three supported amnesty. All three support cap-and-trade energy tax. All three supported the bailout of Wall Street. Isn't that interesting? And you start to wonder, wait a minute, I thought this was a Republican primary we're dealing with here, where you have different shades of conservatism running against each other. Now,
Are you a different shade of conservatism?
Well, I am a constitutional conservative. I believe that we get our mission statement from the preamble of the Declaration of Independence, and that the purpose of the Constitution is to prevent a concentration of power in government that leads to tyranny. Whether it's a separation through the legislative, executive, and judicial branch, and the federal and the state. Clearly the founders knew what they were doing, because they knew the greatest enemy to human freedom and liberty is government tyranny.
It sure is. As a senator from California, when you go to Washington next year, hopefully, are you going to be accepting bribes?
Well, I thought that was illegal.
Well, I don't know.
Or are you talking about the Cornhusker?
The Cornhusker pork
yeah,
barrel spending. Are you going to do it for the sake of California?
The moral equivalent of a bribe, but not legal. You know, I've made a pledge not to vote for any bill that has any earmark in it. And perhaps for the first couple of years I won't be able to vote for any appropriations bill. But I'm thinking that eventually we may be able to wear down this implicit corruption of the appropriations process, where, according to Senator Jim DeMint, who has endorsed me, we have now 1,000 times more earmarks in the system than when I worked for Ronald Reagan in the Defense Department in the mid-'80s as a White House appointee. I was shocked when Senator DeMint told me this, and he explained the reason why we have to fight earmarks is because it's like a gateway drug, where otherwise fiscally prudent conservatives justify and rationalize votes for these appropriations bills that increase spending 10, 15, 20, 25% over the previous year, because they're getting an off-ramp in their district, they're getting a library in their district, a bridge, what have you. And they're like, well, I got to do this for the people back home. Well, we can't keep doing that, because what's happening is that not only do the routine appropriations bills keep getting jacked up, but I think it leads to the environment where we also don't want to take on these entitlement programs, which are really breaking the bank. The bottom line is that my two daughters, aged 18 and soon to be 13, are going to be facing an economic future that will not be as bright as mine. And for the first time in U.S. history, our children, our grandchildren, will be suffering under government taxes and regulations that will make their standard of living worse than ours. Just the stimulus alone, the $800 billion stimulus that Barbara Boxer supported, and sadly Carly Fiorina said a few good things about last year, just that alone is going to cost the average American taxpayer $280 a month for the rest of their lives in principal and interest to pay back. That sort of obligation has profoundly negative implications on future American growth and productivity increases. It's going to diminish the ability of our children to have meaningful careers that will allow them to live their own lives and raise their own families. And we have to stop it. We have to stop it in 2010 before we radically alter the economic and governmental makeup of America beyond recognition.
Do you think that senators like Harry Reid and Chris Dodd do the math like you did?
You know, I think they're worried about getting reelected, and furthermore, I think that they have a fundamentally different vision of an American future than do I. They are progressive liberals. They don't believe in the classic bulwark with the separation of powers that you see with the way the founders, the way Madison put together our Constitution with the three branches in the federal and the state level. What they see, drawing upon European philosophers like Hegel, is the administrative state, the political and the administrative, where the politicians pass these broad, wide-ranging pieces of legislation that then empower unelected bureaucracies of technocrats to basically write rules to run our lives. And so for them, they need bigger, more powerful government and more wealth redistributive taxes in order to accomplish their aims. And their aims, quite frankly, are using government to usher in some classic progressive vision of utopia on this planet. And frankly, we can't afford that. America will no longer be unique if that's what the vision that gets implemented.
It's true. My favorite Margaret Thatcher quote, problem with socialism is you eventually run out of other people's money.
That's right.
Well, I know that you have to get going. You're a very busy man. Thank you for joining us. Chuck Devore, running for Senator of California against Barbara Boxer, hopefully.
Yes,
and hopefully
I am.
We'll be sending you to Washington. Can you tell people how to find you online?
Well, I'm at www.chuckdevore.com. We're on Twitter at Chuck Devore, and Facebook Devore for California is my Facebook fan page.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you.